Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Boozy Botanical podcast. I'm Angelique.
And I'm Holly.
And we are back with another guest episode.
It's a very special Boozy Tuesday today because we have a very lovely, desk.
Who do we have today, Holly?
Today we have none other than the wonderful, magnificent, beautiful, I could go on and on, Becca De La Plants.
Tucson native, hey.
Yeah.
This was such a fun episode.
It was. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna love it. Today we have, like we said, Becca De La Plants on the podcast. And oh my gosh, how do we even intro this? Like,
well,
it's just,
you guys, if you follow her, freaking plant connoisseur, has her own soil blend, runs her own YouTube channel, is part of Potted Together, another podcast. She's just doing everything. An author. She's an author.
She is an author. Yeah, she's things and more. So I think we should start right in. What do you think, Angelique?
Yeah, guys, we don't want to take away from her. So how about you listen yourself from hers truly, I guess is what you would say. But yes, Holly, let's go ahead and welcome Becca. Yay! Hello, everybody. Let's say hello to Becca. Hi. Welcome to the show, Becca. We're so excited to have you.
Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I feel so honored.
This has been a long time coming. Like ever since we started the podcast, we're like, we need a collab with Becca. We have to do something.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love your guys' pod. Like just hearing you guys laugh and just have so much fun is the best. Like I just love it.
Thank you so much. That means so much. Honestly, like someone tells me they listen and I'm like, no, you don't. And they're like, we do. And then they reference something and I was like, oh my God, people listen.
I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We had this conversation the other day. We're like, I think people listen to the podcast.
It's crazy. I had somebody message me the other day and they were like, it was when Holly, I was like, what's the tool that aeroid lovers use in plastic cups to make holes? This was a whole thing, Becca. We're like, what are people using? Because I'm using a knife and it's not working. And I've been getting people like DMing me being like, this is what it is. And I'm like, oh God, they actually heard me do that.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I'm sure though with Potted Together too, there's probably that feeling of like, oh wow, like people are actually taking this stuff in.
Yeah, it's so weird because like, well, on a podcast, because I create YouTube content too, but like on a podcast, it feels like so much more open and like sometimes I say things and I'm like, I would never say that anywhere else. And then somebody's like, me too. I just feel like it's a platform where you can be like more open and chatty. So things just naturally, So it's fun.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's something where, because I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, and so there's these comedians that I love, and I'm like, I feel like I know their life inside and out, and then it's like if I ever get to meet them, I'm gonna realize, oh, you know nothing about me.
Yeah.
It's like this is a one-way friendship, and I didn't realize this.
Yeah. Oh, have you guys? What is that called? It's like it's a thing. It's a new phenomenon. What is that called? Like a para something relationship.
With the rise of like podcasting and stuff and YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to know what that is because it's like psychology wise, I think it's really interesting too.
Yeah, because you rabbit hole. Like, like you feel like you know these people, but at the end of the day, you only know this like brief edited version of what they want to show you,
Exactly.
But like like their kids' names, their parents' names, like you just like know them. Their pets,
journeys. So, whatever. Sometimes people share very personal things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know about you, but
it's a special thing. But you guys, I keep getting distracted because you are holding the most beautiful drink in your hand, Becca.
Yes. Before we get too crazy, let's go around the room. Becca, would you start? Tell us what you're drinking.
What are you drinking?
Okay, it's just a strawberry margarita.
That's my love language, Becca.
Yeah, here's the secret. Margaritas are literally my favorite thing. It's like my favorite drink besides like a Moscow Mule, but margarita is like
I love a Moscow Mule.
Yes.
so good.
You and Holly are
But
boozies.
we are. Do you like
Yeah.
Moscow Mules too?
I do, yeah. So good.
The margaritas,
Oh my gosh.
like,
But margaritas are like, yeah.
Yeah.
I love my
They're delicious. But basically it's frozen. Okay, well basically it's like a what's that huge tequila brand? Like
Jose Cuervo.
Jose Cuervo. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a Jose Cuervo pre-mixed margarita mix.
Uh-huh.
And I put it in the freezer. And I think because there's alcohol in it, it doesn't freeze solid. So it just is like a slushy. So you have like no blender frozen margarita.
You have shown me so
I'm
much.
gonna take a lap.
That's so smart. Yeah, because
I know.
some with the alcohol in it, and then others don't have alcohol. So that's probably a pro tip: is get the one with alcohol in it.
That's work.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it literally like you just like shake it up and it's instant like frozen margarita. It's the greatest thing ever. Mhm.
Costco.
Get it at the store.
Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah.
Oh.
And you just like squeeze it. It's, it's a little hard to squeeze it out, but like you just take your time. That's all that you have to do. That's it. And it like
slowly.
You stroke
my glass is like frozen. Like I'm looking like I'm on a tropical vacation.
Like you really worked hard. I was like,
I know.
prepared. We gave you a prompt and you answered it.
She understood.
I understood the assignment.
Yeah. Molly, what are you drinking?
So okay, I didn't get too crazy with it. I'm drinking it's pineapple juice with Malibu and like a dash of pina colada. So ASMR for you guys. There you go.
Delicious.
That sounds amazing.
It's pretty good. Very refreshing.
Guys, I'm so proud of us. None of us brought cans or anything. We all brought colors.
Look at you, Angelique. What are you drinking?
Oh my gosh, so cute. So I ran out when I was like, oh my God, we have to hop on. Let me grab a drink. Josh went out on a bike ride, but he like preset all these alcohol options for me. Well, not really a lot of alcohol. He was just like, you're going to have Tito's, grenadine, and ginger ale. I was like, I guess that's what I'm having because like he's definitely the mixologist in our house. And I was like, thank you so much. I was ready to like climb because I'm really short. I was ready to like climb up our like shelves and stuff to get to the alcohol at the very top and to just like figure it out. And before this call, he saw me in the kitchen and I just like I held up ginger ale and then I held up what gin and I was like, and he was like, no. That's like not a thing you should be doing. And then I left to go to the restroom. When I came back, he was gone, and there was the preset. And I was like, "Oh, message received."
Wow. The message received. True love right there.
Thank you, and it's very good. God, it's very good. But yes, it's ginger. It's a what's the main ginger ale that starts with a C? Canada Dry.
Mm-hmm.
Canada Dry, grenadine. And then a whiskey from Bevmo that looked expensive. So I don't think it was. I have no idea. I'm not a whiskey person, so we'll see how this goes. But something happened. Oh no, I lied.
Start to feel warm.
You know what? I lied. It's not whiskey. It's actually Tito's. Totally different.
Tito's.
Alcohol. Tito's. We love Tito's.
Right? There was whiskey out at first, but whatever. I guess we switched it up.
Nice. I love it.
Holly, what was, let's just get right into it because we first know. So Becca, we have like a cajillion questions for you, no pressure. But just to start it off nice and smooth, how long ago did you first get into plants? I'm sure a lot of your followers might know already, but in case some of the boozy people don't know, when did you get into the plant game and what was like your first few plants? If you have any favorites and that sort of thing.
Okay, so I first got into plants officially in January 2018. So I was house sitting for somebody and they had a bunch of plants and we were friends and, got some cuttings and my collection really started as that. And then I got like a basil plant and then eventually I got a burgundy rubber tree, which I still have. So those were my first house plants. And actually my huge Monstera is actually one of those tiny cuttings that I got. So it was
no way.
really cool.
Stop
yeah.
it.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
not the whole thing, but like a section of it, you know.
Yeah.
Still, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Did you root it yourself?
So, yeah, and you know what? It's funny because I didn't even know what it was when I got the cutting. Like I just stuck it in water.
Yeah.
And it rooted and I put it in soil and then a leaf started coming out and I was like, wait a second. Did I just do something? Because I had no idea what I was doing. You know, I figured I'd have to root it, but beyond that, I had no clue. And I was like Googling it and I'm like looking at photos and I'm like, I think it's a Monstera. Like, oh my gosh. So
that's
jackpot.
Yeah.
Like such a beautiful plant, especially for people who aren't into plants. I feel like it's such a gateway plant because it looks tropical. So that must have been really exciting for you as like, you know, a new mom, as you were saying.
Was this in Tucson?
Yeah, that was in Tucson. So fun.
My heart.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I went to Mountain View High School.
I went to Sabino. We weren't that far off.
You did? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we would play each other in like football games and stuff.
Definitely. We probably lost, I can assume.
Probably.
Yeah. I think Mountain View was pretty good, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, what year did you graduate?
2012.
Okay. I was 2014. So it was basically like around my junior and senior year was when they got better. So we started winning and like football
maybe
at
we
least.
beat you once or something.
Maybe like your freshman, sophomore year, possibly. Like
so funny.
It went downhill. I definitely did not pay attention. I just went so I could wear t-shirts that my friends and I spray painted purple and gold. We're like, we're fans.
Fair enough. Like I was a cheerleader, so I was obligated to be there. So it was like, but I loved it. You know, there was like no like forcing me into it. That's a fun fact. I was a cheerleader in high school. So, you know,
that's amazing.
Yeah, never many people would like guess that based on knowing me now, but yeah, I was like really into it. Like I was
so fun
for that cheer team. I was a flyer, yeah.
How exciting! I've never done cheerleading. I've always like it must be nice to just go up into the sky.
It was so fun. It was so fun. It just like wasn't so fun like coming down unexpectedly, which also is unfortunately a part of it. But you know, it's I do like think about it sometimes, like, oh, maybe I could like go to an open gym and like have somebody throw me in the air just for old time's sake. But no.
Like maybe one day. So you got into plants in 2018, and did you instantly realize like, oh, I want to create content with plants with a T? Or was that a gradual discovery that you made about yourself?
It was more of a gradual discovery because as I was starting it, I was seeing other people and their content that they were making. And I was so inspired by it. I thought it was so cool. And I was also I was like very knowledge hungry. And I realized that because I would ask questions about plants on my main page as I would on a plant page, right? So I wasn't getting the same like feedback and like, oh, here's what I did. Here's this. Because these people are just people that I went to college and high school and met on vacations. Like they're not like plant people. So I just ended up making an Instagram page mainly to just share my journey and get knowledge. I was just wanting to like learn. So, and then eventually it turned into me getting this desire to make videos because I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel, but never really cared enough about something to do it. So then I just decided I'm going to do plants. And then it started out as more knowledge pulling because there's lots of people online that'll give you advice. And so now I'm giving advice, but that's not how it started.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You became the master through it all.
That's right.
Like Luke Skywalker at first.
There you go. Yeah. I absorbed that information and now I'm ready to put it back out there.
Oh my gosh. Now, did you see that your following like grew right away? Because I feel like, because I had a similar with my Instagram. I had a regular Instagram account and then I was like, okay, I better stop bombarding these people with plants. And then I found, I don't know if it's because it's so niche, but my Instagram plants grew so much quicker than just like my whatever Instagram. Did you find the same with like YouTube and like being so niche. Because at the time, maybe that was, I don't know what year you said, like 2019, 2018, there wasn't that many plant tubers, you know? So
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's something in itself, like being a part of an emerging niche is really interesting. Like I would venture to say that like you and me and like other people who started around the times that we did are like the first among us, you know? So that's really cool. Yeah, the pioneers. Yeah, very fun.
Plant pioneers.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like there were definitely accounts before us, but I think that just like in marketing, I worked in marketing. So like I'm very like nerdy on all of that. But like
I love
within marketing, yeah, like when you niche down so much, it's very easy to grow quickly because people are looking for something so specific. And then when you can deliver that, you like they latch on to it, right? So yeah, I experienced that. But my account did not grow as fast as other people's did because, you know, the whole comparison game, you know, I'd start my account and I think like a year or maybe no, it was a year in, I was at like 2,000 followers. But then I would meet people who were like a month in and they had 3,000 followers. And I'm like, what? Like, right time, right place. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the internet is so strange.
it is.
Well deserved, obviously. But yeah, it's just so funny how that happens. Like for some people, they grow so fast, and for others, it's more of a slow. And I think mine has been like a slow creep, which I think is better for me personally because it's like I have time to absorb like the amount of people who know my dog's names, and you know what I mean.
No, it's so true, and like the whole. Yeah. And like the whole thing about like everyone's on their own timeline is so true with the internet because like you said, people that started even after you, and I found that too, like on TikTok and things where someone will come up and they'll have way, way, way more followers, but it's like, okay, it's not numbers, it's the internet, it's an algorithm, there's no like exact science to it. So
quality over quantity too. Like if you're still putting out something that you're proud of, I think it's gonna have more longevity. Does that make sense? Rather than just like, oh, I blew up overnight, I better just start throwing stuff on my account, and it's not.
Yeah,
it's kind of a job, and if you don't treat, you know,
exactly. Yeah, and I don't know. There's just something about the slow burn. Like, do you guys read romance books?
Been there for sure, done that.
Like when you meet the love interest like so fast, you're like, well, what's gonna happen? Like I already know they're gonna end up together. But when you have that like slow burn, it's like,
oh, girl,
what's gonna happen?
Like, growing on Instagram is like watching Bridgerton. You know, it's like
Bridgerton is the definition of a slow burn.
Yes, like, oh my god, I've never like the most beautiful man I think I'll ever see in my life, and it's just like, don't pounce on her yet. I need to watch every single millisecond of your process.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, it's just, the slow, like, we need to bring back the slow burn. The slow burn deserves a moment, and it should be talked about more, I think, because it's true. Like, you don't want a good thing to end so fast, you know?
You can say that in many
exactly
of life.
Yes, literally.
It's very true. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Down here, dirty minds. Sorry.
Yeah, get that slow start. Like, really build it up. Like, yeah, that's what I feel like the whole like social media thing has been for me, and I think that makes it like more sustainable too, like for income, because it is my full-time job, so I'm like relying on this. So I know that the people who follow me are going to stick around, and that's what counts.
Totally.
What was that like for you then? Because obviously it doesn't pay right away, right? So there has to, I imagine there's a point, and I know you've been through this as well, Holly, like there's a point in which like brands now come to you and brands are like, let's collab. What was that first, like if you can share, what was that first experience of like someone's giving you a paid opportunity, and how did that eventually shift your trajectory? Because you were doing marketing, but how did you become, Becca De La Plants, like as a full-time job?
Yeah. Okay. So if you create content online, you might notice that like random brands will always reach out to like give you free stuff in exchange for a video or a mention. It happens a lot. So that was like a a new thing for me. I didn't know that was like super normal. So I felt very special. Like, ooh, I'm very cool. But no, but like I basically, there wasn't a company, and this is kind of sad actually, but there was never a company that like came to me and was like, we're going to pay you to advertise this. I had to be like, no, you want me to share your product? Like, here's my rates. And I was told no so many times, like so many times. They're like, oh, sorry, it's not in our budget. Like, I'm not going to like throw out names, but there's some like pretty prominent plant brands that would not pay me. Would not. Like, I was like, I'm willing to work with your budget. It's really just more about the principle. Like, I don't want to work for free, but like you can pay me like $50. You know what I mean? It was like
Totally.
So
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it happens so often. And I feel like that's something that like smaller plant creators or just internet creators in general get taken advantage of so often because they just don't know. But yeah, I made a media kit and I started charging, and there were a few companies that did accept, although I had to really like work so hard to convince them to pay me. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is so annoying to have to like constantly prove that my audience is legit, that this is real, that I deserve to be paid.
Right.
Yeah, I'm bringing value. And so, eventually I connected with a company, and then I connected with another company. And so it became a little bit more legit. And then a management company reached out to me. So, and it was a management company that I knew already because they represented some people that I followed. And I was like, oh yeah, like they're legit. Yeah. So, that's when things started to really, that's when I started getting more deals.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Because it's almost like the way I understand it is like they are sort of like your manager and almost like a lawyer for you. Like the kind of like, I'm sure it depends for individuals, like different, cases, but like they work through the deals and your rate and what the deliverables are going to be. And like, man, that'd be so nice.
Yeah. Well, it is
awesome.
Yeah. It puts so much time, number one, off of myself. And like, I would miss opportunities a lot because I wasn't emailing back fast enough. Like I had a deal that was the most money that I would have ever made in a single deal. And I lost it because I didn't reply to an email fast enough. And it's like,
oh man,
I can never let that happen again, And I felt really horrible. Yeah. This is my job. Like I have to. Right. So, at the end of the day, when you can get somebody else to do it for you, they handle all the legal stuff. They handle like literally everything. I just say, yes, I want to work with them, or no, I don't want to work with them. And everything else is done. So it's like,
that's amazing.
That was the best thing. Like, being a creative and then also having to like run a business is so hard because I want to do the creative stuff and I don't want to do my taxes. So like,
I know. 100%. I know a lot of Yeah. Oh my gosh. So now you work with these brands because it's always, it's interesting being so niche down because like Angelique and I also create content around plants. And when you are so niched, it's like, okay, how do I sell, let's just say a toothpaste and make it towards my audience, So obviously there's choosing brands that are either plant related or that your audience knows that you would use such a product. But when you work with these brands, do they primarily do they want you to bring plant stuff in with the deal you're doing? Or do they just like, they don't care, they want your audience?
They don't really care typically. I think like it's more on me to integrate it well so that it doesn't feel so much like an ad. I mean, it is obviously an ad and I'm not trying to hide that, but I have to think like it is more like bending over backwards to figure out how this relates to my audience.
Yeah.
Like, as compared to my other channel, I have a second channel that's more lifestyle driven and I've only ever had one sponsor over there, but it's so easy to integrate because I literally just talk about it. I don't have to be like, oh, here's why this is related to plants, or here's why me as a plant person would like this. It's very like, So it's more work on my part to make sure that it integrates well. But I was talking with my management early on and I was like, why would you want me? Because they represent lots of lifestyle people and mine is not, it's more niche than that. And they're like, well, like people who like plants also are interested in lifestyle things. And, you know, they might not watch other parts of YouTube. They might not know about these products.
It's so
because
true.
they just do plant stuff. So it's like a kind of like an untapped market.
It's so true.
Oh, go ahead.
And one thing that I put in my media kit a while ago was like, look, like 80% of my audience are women from this age to this age. So like, you know,
do the math.
You know, because I've mostly reached out to brands. Like I do have some reach out to me, but I'm usually like, let me work for you, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Interesting thing.
I think having like a super one-sided audience, like all women, mostly people in this age group, is so powerful because it's so specific. And like, you know, coming from a marketing background, you cannot get a group like that very easily in other ways. You know, like influencer marketing is so powerful, and
for sure,
it's not going to go away anytime soon. Like it works. Obviously, it's why people keep doing it. So
yeah.
It's cool. And I've learned about so many fun products, and like I use the discount codes. Like it's great.
Oh, yeah,
like
I do. It's money.
15, you know?
It's so true. Anytime I'm like wanting to order something, I'll go on Instagram under like most recent tags. And I'm like, aha, found one.
Yes, I do that too. I'm like, oh, what was that brand that I heard about from that one YouTuber like 6 months ago? Oh yeah. And then I'll like type in like, I don't know, whatever company, and then the word partner, like Annalisa partner, and like somebody will have a code. It's great.
It's so true. And like bonus points if they're like a smaller account. I'm like, hell yeah.
Right. You're helping them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's really cool. That's so funny.
That's crazy. That's crazy what you were saying about how unique it is to have such a specific market within your audience. Cause it just makes me think like, I guess it helps your managers know exactly who you can influence, literally. Like they're not going to be giving you like depends ads to do or whatever, you know?
Right.
Like,
right.
But it's really powerful because of what you were saying. Like, yeah, like they still need basic needs. It's like if Quip decides to sponsor you, people still brush their teeth. And even though they collect plants, and I just think that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Bending to the ad in a way, because it's what you were saying earlier. I feel like, especially with podcasting, having such a specific topic like plants really helps with growth. Because I do another podcast and it's comedy based and it's about being fired, which is very niche, but it's a little bit more broad. And it's interesting seeing the trajectory of both shows and how they grow. And it's just to me, it's really powerful seeing the opposite of that too. Like when you're so niche, having to then mold to make that brand make sense for your audience. I just find that so fascinating.
Yeah, it's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, like lots of thinking, lots of putting together the script for the ad. Well, it's not a script, but you know, the guidelines of where I want to go with the ad. It's it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Did you feel once you became repped? Because so I'm an actor and I don't have management right now, but obviously I'm learning like, okay, it's a scam. Obviously, if a manager needs me to pay them to rep me, and I know that for acting, like it's no more than 10%. Was there anything that they get? Was there anything that you were worried about, or was there a learning curve for you on how to kind of have someone on it? Like you were your own team, but now you have a team. So how was that adjustment? And were you ever afraid of being scammed? Obviously, you knew the company, so you probably knew they were legit, of course. But what was that like for you?
Yeah, well, okay. I think like OnScreen Talent, for some reason, just people are always trying to scam them constantly because like we want to like grow our influence. We want to like maybe for actors, you want to be in more productions. Like you want that. And then when someone dangles that in front of you, you're like, oh,
it's tempting.
Yeah, because I think there's also this element of it's too good to be true, but also sometimes that works out and it's like, this is too good to be true, but I also just got this really great deal. So I think that you kind of are in the habit of not necessarily always thinking that. And so if it was a different company that reached out to me, I would have probably researched them for like weeks and talked to them for like months before I signed anything because you just never know. And, you know, I had a lawyer look over the contract. So it was a lot of like making sure that I'm covered. And I asked so many questions. We got on like probably 3 or 4 calls before I was like, okay, I'll sign the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, with these contracts, you could get locked into like 4 years of hell and not know if you don't read close enough, because the wording in the contracts is confusing on purpose. That's just
it's stressful.
Yeah, it's very stressful. And like, I'm not a legal person. Like, literally, I have an English degree, and now I'm making videos about plants. Like, what a part of that is like legal anything? It's not. So
yeah.
Yeah, like, so I think that's
documents. You're like, am I drunk? Like, am I just not getting
like, there's words and I speak the language, but like I'm still confused. Yeah, it's a lot. So like for me, that was a big leap. And thank God I knew about the company previously, and like that was good. But if I didn't, it would have been a lot more calls and questions. But then after that, like, it's so hard for me to relinquish responsibility to somebody else, because this is my livelihood. This is something that I've built like from the ground up. Like it's hard for me just in life as a human to relinquish responsibility to others. I'm just one of those people that likes to control everything, unfortunately. So, you know,
but
when it comes to like yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's like a flaw, but sometimes it works out. Like in group projects in school, I always did well, because I was like, well, if no one's going to handle this, like I'll stay up all night and write the paper.
I know how you feel. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of, that has been the hardest thing for me, is to remember, oh, I have a team to rely on. I have people that I can hire this out to. I'm already paying them in my commission, in their commission, basically, because they take a percentage, obviously. So like, that's the payment. I can ask them to review things for me. I can ask them to whatever, like reach out to companies for me. I don't have to do that anymore, which is very nice. But you know, that's the part that kind of trips me up even still, is just remembering that I have help and I don't have to do it all by myself.
Yeah, like delegation's really hard for entrepreneurs, you know? It's just like, wait, what? You're going to help me with this? Like, you got it? Okay, you know?
Yeah, and like trusting that they're going to do it as good as you, but like even if they don't, it's still good that they did it and you didn't have to. But I'm like, I know. I would have done it so much better.
That's where I struggle. I'm very similar in that I know I do a good job at things. So then it's like, no, I need to learn that it's okay. It's like someone, I'm not the only equipped person on the planet. Like someone else is able to do this, but relinquishing that control really is like a mindset and a practice daily to be like, it's okay. My life isn't over. It's okay.
It's so true. Totally. And, you know, going back on, you said earlier, you know, like sort of bending over backwards to not, you know, but like, for brands, right? Making it about plants and like really you're trying to mold it. And then when you hear, so you're putting a lot of work. And then when you hear maybe some old followers or new followers, whatever, say things like, oh, well, now they're sponsored or now they've sold out. And it's obviously a very small-minded comment to make because it is people's work and they should be, I get so excited when people I've followed for a long time have sponsorships. And I'm like, you know what? You can always skip past the advertisement or let it play.
Right.
That's how you can really support them. So have you ever had to navigate those kind of situations, or like, can you speak more on that? Because I think that's such an important thing that people need to realize.
Yeah. Okay. It's something that it doesn't happen too often, but it has happened where someone's like, oh, like, I can't believe that you would support this company, like blah, blah, blah. But, or just stuff like that. Like, oh, like you have too many ads or whatever iteration of, you know. So for me, it's mostly just reminding them that this is my job. Like I use this to make money, and like, I'm not forcing you to watch this video. You can skip it. There's always a skip option. Like what you just said. I mean, it's like no one is forcing you to sit through me talk about this meal kit delivery, but it is honestly something that's made my life better. So I'm happy to share, and you get to benefit from this as well. But if not, you can skip. And you know, it's not, I've never had like a full video being dedicated to a specific company. So it's always like 2 minutes at most.
That's nothing. Yeah.
And like, you know, if you're a part of YouTube culture and you watch YouTube, this is not a surprise. So typically the people that are complaining are older followers who don't understand YouTube culture, or people who only watch plant YouTube will sometimes mention these things, because as we mentioned earlier, YouTube is such a brand new niche that these people are not really advertising in their videos. Like some of the huge YouTubers I see, they never have ads.
Yeah.
Which like that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with not having ads. But like, you know, when the people who are the biggest aren't doing it, this makes it sound like I want them to, but that's not what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean?
You're saying like people, like listeners can't understand, like, why are you doing ads if like Troye Sivan isn't doing ads, for example? And it's like, we're not in the same lane. Like he's doing like vlogs, like random whatever. It's like,
right.
It's a totally different space.
Yeah, a totally different space. This might even be going out on a stretch, but sometimes I think when people niche down, maybe they don't want to see, you know, so-called pioneers doing something more than what's been done in the past. You know, like some people are scared of change and scared of success. Like, oh, but they're just a plant channel. Why are they talking about Tampax? Like, that's just too big, you know? And it's like, but is it? It doesn't have to be like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, exactly. And I think that we also, as creators, set the tone on our page. Like, there's this person who I follow who's very like quick to delete comments or quick to like not accept people's hate, you know, or whatever else.
Yeah.
Because she says like her page is like her house, and you're not going to walk into somebody's house and just like disrespect them. So on that,
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So like on that note, I mean, I don't really delete comments too often unless it's like ridiculous. But on that note, I think that we set the tone as creators for how advertisements work on our page, because like there are people in the general YouTube whatever who apologize for having ads. They're like, I'm so sorry that this video has to be sponsored. Like, this is how I make my money. Like you set the tone. You're apologizing for and like the same thing with like creating content about your life that isn't all about plants. When you're super niche, you might feel guilty for talking about being a normal human being on your plant page, but like I think that is so strange. Like, it's your page. If you want to talk about something that you care about, don't apologize for that, because this is your page. And like, I will never apologize for having an ad on my videos, because this is how I make money. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. Like, you know, that's just it. I'm never going to apologize. I'm not.
Cheers
like
everyone.
Cheers to not apologizing.
Because
women apologize too much in general. Like, we don't need to.
Yeah, we need to stop that, because it's like you wouldn't hate on your follower for like, oh, I gotta go clock in at Walmart, and it's like, gross, you shouldn't do that. And it's like, that's how they make their money. So it's like, don't judge me, you know?
This is a plant page. I don't want to hear about you clocking in. Like, what?
Ew.
You like plants. Like, you don't coffee or paint nails.
What?
Oh my gosh. Like, the only thing you can do is talk about plants. That's it. That's all you get. I think that's
leaves. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's silly. Like, we're so much more as people, and like, we don't need to box ourselves in, you know?
Like, so more than your hobbies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, then going off of all that, you've obviously been doing this for what, going on 4-ish, almost 5, you're on 5 years maybe now-ish. I suck at math. I don't know. But
5 years? I don't think it's been 5.
Well, 18 and 19, 19 and you're like on 3 years and some change.
Okay, yeah, I was like, oh no.
I have a theater degree, guys. So you can only imagine how bad my numbers are.
Me too. I'm with you.
Have you ever experienced major slumps in your creating where you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do anymore? Or have you ever needed to take a step back from what you do? And what was that like?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this yesterday. Like, I feel like I'm in a constant existential crisis as far as my career goes. Like it's just constant. Sometimes it goes away, but there's more time spent thinking like, do I want to do this forever? And is this going to be it? There's more time spent thinking that than me being like, woo. And I think that's just who I am as a person. Like, I don't know. Like I like to keep things moving, and I like to, sometimes it's also imposter syndrome too, if I'm honest. Like it's a lot of like, should I even be doing this? Like, am I worthy of doing this? And then I realize like, no, I am. Like, this is good. I'm good at it. I like it. But no, I think I'm a person who's always going to be reinventing myself career-wise because I don't like to work. Like, I don't dream of labor.
What?
I don't dream of labor. I love that.
That's so funny you say that, because I'm the same way, and I feel like Holly is also the same way. Like we're not about to enter an office, and the years that I did that, I thought I was like in
Tell me
the
now.
depression. It really sucks. Like I feel like we weren't created to be like, people don't exist to just be in one space for 8 hours just serving someone else. Like it's just, for me, that doesn't work. And so literally yesterday, because I'm an actor, but like that's not making money right now. So I nanny to pay the bills and just do whatever gig work I can. And a gig popped up, and it was like, are you a morning person? And I'm like, no. Are you really organized? I guess I'm pretty organized. Do you want a gig from 6:30 to 9:30 every day? But it was $30 an hour. And I was like, oh God, I think I do. And so I like messaged them, and I remember walking up to my boyfriend and I was like, this is a bad idea, right? And he's like, you know how much sleep you need? Like, I don't know. And it's crazy because there is that feeling of like, I don't want to be on anyone's schedule. Like I want to be on my schedule, you know? So yeah, it's hard, I think, to like, once you get that freedom. Like I'm in a place right now where I finished my full-time job, and I'm kind of just putting in shifts where I want to. And I tell families like, I'm available or I'm not available. And it feels so powerful to just say like yes or no, that the option of getting back into like a very strict routine is like scary, you know?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah. I experience creator burnout all the time. Not as much anymore now that I know how to manage it. But I think as a creative person, you have to have like as a human, let's just say, you have to have a very strict like self-care routine. Like you have to have that time, whatever that means for you. Like it's not always going to be getting your nails done. Like, even if it's just sitting on the couch and reading a book or watching your favorite show, like just having time for you to exist outside of working is so important. And that is what keeps me going. Like it's been a lot easier now that I'm not working 2 jobs, because I was working in marketing and then I was doing the YouTube stuff on the side. So I was putting in like 18-hour days almost every single day. You know, it was constantly working. And I experienced burnout like once a month. There would be like a full week where I just like was not in my head. So, you know, I think it's a lot better having a better work-life balance is definitely important. But that's such a privilege to be able to just
100%.
You know, it's just such a privilege to be able to just take time and So it's hard, and I don't know what that balance looks like. Like I didn't have a balance when I had to work like that. So I just kind of got through it, which is, it's a flaw. So it's a flaw.
Yeah. So would you say maybe like self-care is something to do when you're in a creative slump?
Totally. And like not feel guilty that you are in a creative slump, because you know, there's no way that you're going to be constantly on the making train. There's no way, like, because ideas run out, and you can't constantly be doing that. You have to take that time to rest. It's like our plants is like my favorite analogy, but like, you know, in the winter, they take a nap and they rest because they've been putting out leaves all summer. And like, we see this as like such a beautiful thing. We're like, oh, they're going dormant. Like, it's so sweet. Like, let's tuck them in for the winter. But when it comes to us, we're like, oh, I'm so lazy. I'm so dumb. Like, why can't I? Yeah. So I think that we need to think of ourselves and like give ourselves so much more grace when it comes to that, because when you're creating, when you're in an office, like whatever you're doing, like you're using so much brain power and creativity, and you have to refresh yourself, or else your content's not going to be good. And then you're not going to grow. People aren't going to see who you are through your content. They're just going to see a machine working. They're not going to see a person.
It's so true. I've had to tell myself, like, okay, watching my reality TV for an hour is part of getting work done. I need to recharge.
Reality TV is self-care.
Yes.
Let's give me a t-shirt.
People's drama, scripted drama.
Give me more.
Yes. I think, though, a big thing through all of that, because me and Holly recently did an episode that focused on feeling burnt out with your collection and kind of how to refresh, and that it's like, it's okay to just like forgive yourself and not feel angry that you feel a certain way. I think that just like in general, when you were saying that we need to give each other more grace or give ourselves more grace, I think, and I feel like people look at this maybe as childish or maybe elementary, I don't know, but I'm starting to learn about myself, because I tend to like workhorse like crazy, and then it's like, if I take an extra 30 minutes to just do nothing, it's like, oh, the world's ending. I didn't do the dishes yet. And it's like trying to learn to just, I guess with like a little kid, like when that's what I mean by elementary. It's like they do one small thing and it's like, good job, you did the thing. And it's like, I put my shoes on. Good job. I washed a dish. Good job. Like, I got gas today. Like, I think it's just allowing ourselves to remember to like be proud of the little steps, because they all feed into the bigger one, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that analogy. It's really good.
I'm just here all day. But it is hard. Like, I'm somewhat like Josh always tells me, he's like, you beat yourself up a lot. And I'm like, why do I do that? Like, why not nice to myself? And I feel like so many of us are guilty of that because of this preconceived notion from whether how our parents grew up or how the world we live in, that like we can't stop. And that can be really overwhelming.
Yeah. It's true. Totally. Anytime I hear a friend like say something negative about themselves, I say to them, hey, don't talk about my friend like that. And I need to pull that back on myself, you know? Yeah, like anytime I'm like mean to myself, I'm like, don't be mean to my friend like that. Cause like we're trying our best, you know? Like of all people, we know our character the best. And like we know that we have the best intentions. So we should be giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt first and foremost. So yeah.
And you're with yourself more than anyone. So why don't you want to have a good time with yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to be with this sore sport all the time, you know? So it's like, I completely
I feel like manifestation and speaking things into existence is like such a thing. And we really are doing that. Like when we say like mean things to ourselves or like, you know, so I think I'm working really hard to train myself to not do that. So yeah.
Daily practice for sure.
Yeah. And you have to catch yourself in it. Like, and I'm not good at that. Sometimes I'll just wallow in it and then I'm like, oh God, I feel horrible today. Why? Oh, because I was mean to myself today. I was so mean. Like, why?
It's not worth it. And
it's hard.
Energy spreads too. Like, even if you don't think anyone else is feeling it, like you're putting off a thing. And you know?
Yeah. Do you guys like absorb other people's feelings? Like it's such a flaw, but like if someone's in a bad mood around me, I'm like, then I'm in a bad mood. I absorb it. I'm like, whoop, okay, we're all gonna be in a bad mood now.
Today is the worst.
I get mad at other people if they're in a bad mood because I'm like, thanks a lot. Now I'm in a bad mood. I was so happy until 5 seconds ago.
Right.
So it's like we should create little bubbles, just like, you know, a good plant analogy, just like how we don't let the leaves touch because they might get pests. Just create a little bubble, you know?
Yes. We're not absorbing other people's spider mites today.
Yeah. So true.
That's so good.
What would you recommend to someone? Because obviously you started like 2018, 2019. What would you recommend for someone in 2021 going into 2022 if they wanted to start like a plant talk or a PlantTube? And what maybe like what do you recommend as some go-to tips? And has anything changed since you started that maybe you like wish you knew or that you would adjust if you started now?
Okay. So okay. I think that it's very important as a plant creator or just a creator in general to make it clear that you don't have all the answers. Like you're learning with everybody else. And I feel like that collective approach is so much more approachable than somebody who's coming with all of the facts. You know, there's obviously that's so helpful to have videos like that. I have videos where I'm presenting facts and these are the answers, but there's also so much more content where I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And I'm just inviting you into my home to do plants with me. I would say, number one, there's always room for more people. I think a big reason why people don't create content or they avoid doing things is because they think that it's a saturated market. There's already so many plant creators. There's already so many beauty gurus. But there's nobody like you. And it's a little cliche. And then maybe there's lots of people who have said this, but there's nobody that's going to be able to deliver the information like you would. And, when you look at a YouTuber or an Instagrammer, they attract a certain audience. And sometimes it'll overlap with other people, but most of the time it'll attract completely different and new people. Right. So you're going to attract a different crowd than say, somebody else. Like I'd say us three, our audiences probably overlap, but maybe not completely, so
right. For sure.
Yeah. So I'd say there's always room for more people and just invite people into your life. And you can be as surface level and stick to your niche, or you can be personal. But I noticed that my page started growing so much more when I added more personal elements to my content. When I showed my dogs, when I talked about what I was doing on the weekends, when people want to, there's definitely going to be people who are like, you're a plant page, just talk about the Monstera. But there's going to be, for every one of those, you're going to have like 10 people who are like, oh my God, I love that book too. Or like, oh my gosh, your dogs are so cute. Here's the type of dogs that I have, because especially like right now, I'd say like specifically 2021, 22, we are sort of like emerging back into the world slowly, God willing. But like, so like we want to know that there's like other people out there. We want to connect with people. And I think that like internet connection is so much more powerful now than it was a couple of years ago, because the internet has literally kept like society and relationship going for a year or year and a half now. So So I think definitely like
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, like, I'm so glad that it's more accepted now, because like, I feel like when I was in college, it was still a little bit like, ooh, stranger danger on the internet. So it'd be like, I have a friend on Instagram. I know. So anyways,
like, oh,
like kind of embarrassed about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, them? Well, I follow them. But now I'm just like, oh yeah, my friend in Missouri, my friend in New York. I'm like, I don't care. Like,
that's fine, but you have a relationship.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's really awesome. Like we were saying, how great social media is for that now.
Well, I think vulnerability reads really well. I think people want connection. And I think the ironic thing with the internet is that I think sometimes people feel distanced from actual humans the more they're on the internet. So when you are on the internet, if you're presenting yourself online, but you're presenting a very vulnerable human element to yourself, it's like you're getting the best of both. You're getting this online connection, but you're getting a real person. You're not getting a facade. And obviously, of course, it's what you said earlier at the beginning. Like, we are only presenting a very curated element of ourselves. But there's genuineness to it. Like, that's why with podcasting, I feel like podcasting is so successful, because it's not like a PowerPoint presentation. It's literally your feelings personified, sort of,
Yeah, totally. Totally. And, you can feel when somebody's being ingenuine. Like, I really do believe in our human ability to read those types of things, because I can tell when there's somebody that I just don't jive with for whatever reason. Maybe they're like presenting like someone who isn't authentic, or they're just not, they wouldn't be my friend in real life, So that's the good thing about the internet, is there's so many people out there, and you can find somebody who feels right for you. And you yourself could be that person for someone else, you know? So whatever it is that you're wanting to make content for, like, and also it's, I was a teacher for a year. And when I became a teacher, I realized more than anything that nobody becomes a teacher for the money, right? You just don't.
Right.
You don't. You do it because you care about the education of the future generations, and you love kids or what. I don't love kids, but I did enjoy being a teacher.
Right. You know, you're making an impression.
Exactly. And so you don't start creating content on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or wherever for the money. And if you do, you can kind of tell, and it's not as genuine. You know, you do it because you just want to, like, you have so much fun with your hobby and it overflows into YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And that is more attractive. That attracts people.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's what I would say. Yeah. Don't do it for the money. Do it for like an extension and to create a community.
Nice. Now, I noticed that you also are on TikTok. I'm like, hey.
I am.
What do you think is, like, what's your favorite app? And what do you think is the best app to grow on?
TikTok, I think right now is the best app to grow on because the algorithm, I think because it's such a new app, they're wanting to build up their influencers, their people on the app. And like a lot of people have a lot of followers on TikTok. Like I think that it's a very like free market for like everybody to grow. You know, it's not, I don't feel like it's very selective. And there's people who I follow who talk about this all the time. Like they're huge on Instagram and they're putting all their time into TikTok because they're just growing so much faster. And it's better to grow on. And like, I don't know. For example, I've put basically little to no effort into TikTok, but I almost have 20K. So it's like, like, and I did that in just a year or so. You know, it wasn't even, I literally will not post for weeks at a time. And then I'll post and a video will get a lot of traction and then I'll get like 1,000 followers, you know? So it's like, you could never do that on Instagram. If you go silent on Instagram or YouTube, they're like, all right, she's gone. Like, anyway, who's next?
For it. They're like, we're not going to show your shit to people because you might go sad. So it's like, you feel like you're being punished because you didn't post for a week, you know?
There's I think there's saturated markets that it's like, oh, well, if Sucker for Plantis hasn't posted, which she doesn't post a lot, let me tell you. So like, it's like, oh, we're just gonna bury that account because there's so many others just like it. And I think it's just like whatever, on to the next sort of attitude.
Yeah, you have to keep showing up on other platforms, but on TikTok, it's like you can come and go, and that's what I've noticed. So that's why I like it because
you get a break.
I'll go weeks at a time without posting and just enjoying TikTok. And then I'm like, oh, I feel like I want to post. And I'll have like a week where I'm posting and then not again, you know? So, but if I was to put more time and effort into it, I feel like it would grow, but I don't, you know, there's a lot of other things going on. So TikTok, I think, is the most fun, for sure. The most fun.
Yeah.
I love TikTok.
It's so, I love your TikTok, Holly.
Oh, thank you.
Her TikTok is popping all the time. And it's funny, Holly. I'm like, I don't even know how to think of this stuff.
Well, it's so funny because I hate editing. Like I've tried to do YouTube and I'm doing it again, but I just don't like editing. So doing TikTok is like, whew, I'm done. So I put all my efforts into TikTok, but
Do you definitely think you use that one the most, Holly?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've been watching YouTube forever and I kind of treat YouTube as like TV and then like TikTok is like my app, you know?
I gotcha. And Instagram is like, here's the updates.
I know.
I definitely use Instagram so much less now. Like it used to be everything to me, and which is so weird, like how it can shift.
It's so true.
Right. Makes me wonder what's coming next. You know, like at what, like what can we top at this point? Because I can't even fathom what would come after TikTok.
I know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Hopefully nothing for a while. I got
know,
a lot.
Like, give me a second.
Guys, I have like 3 TikToks up. I can't. I'm like, even this is too much for me. I was like, I can't.
No, dude, I feel like I'm so old. I remember when Instagram came out and people were like, they're like, oh, this is like a new thing that I have to keep up with. And I'm like, if only we knew.
If only we knew. And you know what? I think TikTok is an interesting app because it sort of encourages you to follow people that you don't know. Whereas Instagram and Facebook is very like, only people you know, you have to be very safe. Like, well, Instagram has shifted more now. But TikTok, I don't know any of the like I literally don't know any of the people that I follow. Like there's certain people that I'll interact with, but I don't know them at all. But I know things about their life because they post. I know things about my life because I post, and we have this mutual thing. But will I ever meet them? Probably not. So it kind of like encourages you to create those. It's like parasocial.
Oh, what is that really about? Yeah,
like keep coming back to it. Is it parasocial? I don't remember, but anyway.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Parasocial relationships. Yep. You got it.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just
First thing, are they healthy?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I think TikTok, especially because I feel like when someone goes viral, they really lean into what was the thing they did that made them viral. Like I think I shared this with you yesterday, Holly. I'm not sure, but I found an account over the weekend called, is it Benji Xavier or something like that? But he does like the principal walk. I don't know if you guys have seen.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. If you haven't seen this, Becca, I'm gonna DM it to you. He just like
with the keys.
Yes, with the keys and the walking. But it's most of his content now is all that. And so I feel like
Southern Dad.
Right. It almost becomes like a channel where I know I'm going to get the principal content. I know I'm going to get the cat content on this one. I'm going to get the plant content on another. So it's like, it almost feels okay that you don't know them because it's like, I'm coming here for what they produce, not for them. And in a weird way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. TikTok feels very impersonal in that way. Like the comment sections on a viral video are not about the person. Or even anything they said. Like, whereas YouTube, if a YouTube video goes viral, it's so much more about the person and things they said and like people analyzing this. But TikTok, like I've had a few videos, like I wouldn't say they went viral, but they got a couple 100,000 views. And they weren't even talking about me in the comments. They were talking about something else. Yeah. Which is like it's a weird adjustment as somebody who comes from Instagram and YouTube, because I'm like, oh, I need to reply to all these comments. I need to interact with all these people. But TikTok, it's like the comment section is its own
entertainment too. It is so fun.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys those TikToks where people will make a TikTok about a video's comment section? They're like, check out the comment section.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So good. It's like it's social media inception a little bit.
Totally. It's like a Reddit and YouTube combined created TikTok.
That's a good way to describe it. I would have never thought of that because it is very Reddit-y for sure, especially when it's like, because I feel like now TikTok is the place for like, I was mistreated on an airplane or I wasn't allowed into this. And it's like, screw BuzzFeed, screw NBC, whatever. We're going to TikTok and the comment section is popping every time.
Like, mentioning the company.
Here.
Yes. It's freaking crazy.
And then people will comment, like, don't worry, guys, they've been fired.
Yes.
Like, so intense. Screw a journalism degree. Just get on TikTok. Like, you don't need it.
It's exactly. So true.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This has been so much fun. This is like the best way to start a Monday. Yeah, guys.
Yeah, it is.
On a Monday.
Yeah, sorry. I just yawned because alcohol makes me tired. And I'm like, I need a nap.
Girl, you're all good.
I need another drink. Is what you
I need another drink. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Becca. This has been amazing.
This is really cool. Well, before you go, where can the people find you on all the things? Where can they find your book? All the your soil meat, the thing that we put our plants in. Your what's it called? Not soil medium.
Tanks. Oh, what it's called? It's called It's
blend.
called.
I called it a blend earlier. That's what it was. Where can they find all your stuff?
Okay. Also, was music playing?
Oh, it is.
It's our outro music. Don't worry.
Oh, you guys
exciting.
are seeing it. I'm like, uh-oh, is this somebody's ringtone? Okay. Right. So my Instagram is De La Plants. We didn't even talk about how all three of us are Latinas, and it is Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes. Hell
We planned this, guys.
Amazing. I don't know when this episode is going
We're
up.
all Arizonan Latinas, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Oh my gosh. Shout out. Shout out to the
ladies. Gotta represent.
That's
okay,
right.
so
ladies.
okay, my Instagram is De La Plants, DELA Plants. And then YouTube, Becca De La Plants. TikTok, De La Plants. That's probably, the big ones.
Do you have a website or anything that you use as well?
Yeah, I do. It's just delaplants.com.
Perfect.
Keep it simple.
They can order all your stuff on there, or they can get directed where they need to go.
Yep. The book will have, I have all the information on the book where you can buy the book on my website. It's a Houseplant 101 book, basically. So if you're interested in finding something like that, written by someone who is not a botanist, but is just like you, who has learned just like you and has some cool information. So, and then the soil mixture, there's also a directory on the website for that.
Yay. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Really quick, Holly, where can they find you before we hop off for the day?
Okay, so you guys can find me at Concrete Botanical _ Concrete Botanical, or that's on Instagram, at Concrete Botanical on TikTok, and concretebotanical.com for all the terrazzo goodness.
Yay! And you can catch me at Sucka for Plantas, and you can catch the podcast at Boozy Botanical Podcast. We drop new episodes every Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. And if you want to email us,
everywhere.
You can email us at, pretty much everywhere. You can also email us at boozybotanicalpodcast@gmail.com with any planty questions or stories that you want to share with us. And I think that's all the things, huh, Holly? That is even a 5-star rate and review because you're cool. Thank you.
Yes, on that note, you guys.
Cheers! Thanks so much, Becca.
Cheers!